The Brisbane Lions Fancast is back for another week where we have not played any football at an AFL level. Doesn't look like we've played footy at a VFL level as well, because the Brisbane Lions have kicked their season off with a bye there too. The old VFL fixture with just a silly amount of byes. There was a pretty serious intra-club practice match that was had on Saturday, and it looks like all the players that we're expecting to be back will be back, and we will get to that. There is plenty to talk about, though, this week. We've got a game coming up against the Saints, who have notched their first win against the Giants. I'm glad they got that out of their system. It is all thanks to Hop On Brewery Tours, Chris Marketing, of course, EB by Hiker. Don't forget to check us out at brisbanelionsfancast.com.au. You can join in everything we're doing there. You can buy our merch. You can also throw us some dollars for the tip jar. And a big shout out to Chris, who did that not last week, but the week before last. So a big shout out to you, Chris, for doing that. We do appreciate it, because times are tough. I have a diesel car and drive 100 Ks every day, and I am not enjoying it at the moment.
Yeah, I also have a diesel car and now can no longer go to Melbourne for frivolity. So
yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Now it's like, if I want to take work in Ballarat, that's close to a $60 day, so I don't get paid anymore.
It's good, isn't it?
I don't think I'll be moseying up the old, I don't know, dirt road. I don't know what the one to Ballarat is. It's awful. It's a terrible road and very dangerous. So
yes, no,
if you're driving on that, be careful.
Everyone listening right now is all feeling the pinch at the moment because, well, the world's gone mad, as we all know. Hey, let's chat about some footy. There was some footy this weekend. As I said, none for the Brisbane Lions, but in pretty horrible but Brisbane Lions related news, Jonathan Brown has suffered something pretty traumatic. Gone in for a routine scan, found a shadow on his brain. Turned out to be thankfully a small tumour, but still a tumour nonetheless. It sounds like, from what we've heard so far, they caught it pretty early. He's recovering well, and signs looking good. So I know not just the Lions, fans and community, but the AFL community at large is holding their breath and keeping their fingers crossed for the big man, because he's one of life and footy's great characters.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that until quite a bit later, I think after he'd had surgery or whatever. But yeah, I hope it goes well, and it's a reminder to everybody to don't take medicine and the likes lightly, and get cameras put in places they probably shouldn't go, and radioactive nonsense spread through your bloodstream to have a look. Do that, because it can help and save your life. Yeah,
so startling news, and I think everyone had a similar thought. Well, if anyone's going to get through this, it's the tough bastard that is Jono Brown. So I think we all sort of back him in to get through this. He's been through a hell of a lot already in his life. This is just another obstacle for him to just kick in the face and sit back and wash it down with a beer. So yeah, fingers crossed and everything. Hey, in other footy-related news, this one is for me. The Maruka Roosters, as you know, I've joined this year, the over-35s Masters. We've got our first game Friday night at Ormo. So if anyone's got nothing else to do on Friday night and feels like wasting a bunch of petrol, which is coming in at super cheap at the moment, as we've spoken about, and fancy a drive to Ormo at 7:45, should be a fun night.
Where the hell is Ormo?
Almost the Gold Coast.
Okay. Oh,
I think technically it
yeah,
is
right.
part
Yeah,
of the
gotcha.
Gold
Okay,
Coast,
I just don't think I think I've seen it on signs and never heard anyone say it. Such is the irrelevance of Ormo. Sorry to anyone that listens and is from there. You're a selfish bastard. We all knew it, but there you go. So just for that plug, you couldn't have waited until the first home game so all of the people could, stumble from Yeronga and Yorongpilly and even as far as Graceville, it's only a 10-minute drive. So, yeah.
7 of 11 games will be home games for Maruka, so there'll be plenty of opportunities for people to come down to Maruka and enjoy a nice family fun day out and watch some over 35s footy and have a bit of fun. I digress. Footy. Brisbane Lions. As I said, there was a pretty serious intra-club, and I guess people were just looking for how's Huey going to play. well is the answer to that. Got through the game 100% of game time. Got through the game untouched. Obviously, Dizzy will be back. Logan Morris played a little bit. I think he only played maybe a quarter or a half, but from all accounts, he should be ready to go for the game coming up against the Saints as well. Zane Zakostowski was playing down back again, so potentially going to hold his spot, and he has signed a contract extension as well. So it's been a good couple of weeks for ZZ.
His career had gone from like purgatory, like will it happen, to like, yeah, let's do this. So Absolutely. Good for him, really good for him. It's reward for effort, and it's reward for, I guess, stickability. And that's not to throw shade on any players that we've got in another sense. It's just, and there's a lot of players that have benefited from that. But yeah, I think I can see him taking that Harris Andrews role in the team until Harris Andrews gets back, and then we'll have a discussion then. So great for him, really great for him.
Sam Draper moved well. I think he's better for having an AFL game under his belt, and Zach Bailey played a lot in the midfield. Got a lot of midfield minutes for Bales. Looks like Cam Rayner was playing a lot of one out in the square as well in that particular hit out. So some things to look out for against the Saints, and we know Cam Rayner loves playing against the Saints, especially down at Marvel as well. So as I sort of touched on off the top, the Saints got their win, so I'm glad they got that out of their system, because if they came into this game 0-3 with the little bit of spice that's going on that has happened between Chris Fagan and St Kilda in the lead up to this game, I don't think it's enough to really make it, a spiteful match by any stretch of the imagination, especially when it's 11:30 on Saturday morning, Queensland time.
Sorry, what?
Yeah.
What time's that for me? 12:30
for you. Yeah.
Who's playing 12:30 games of football? Like, that's insane.
11:30. Well, sorry, 11:35 for Queenslanders listening right now, which is absolutely piss. But you know what?
That's pretty funny. Like, do you reckon
it's better than the bye just?
Yeah. I mean, the bye was pretty good this week. Nothing bad
certainly
happened.
Came at the right time, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not going back into it about opening round. But, yes, not good. But no, I'm looking forward to that. When was the GWS St Kitts game?
That was a Saturday job. And it got delayed by, quite a while with lightning strikes and all that sort of gear.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, yeah, I sort of was just watching the numbers go up, because after sort of Thursday and Friday being good games, and then we looked at the fixtures last week and went, just call it a wrap after Friday night, really. Both those games did deliver, though. So
yeah, I mean, I tell you what, the Giants that we got this weekend, just gone, is the Giants I expected in opening round. Like, this Giants team looked like a team that had so many injuries to key players, and they just looked inept, especially for the first half. Like, St Kilda weren't good by any stretch of the imagination, but they were getting scores on the board, and GWS just found every way possible to fumble, to miss handballs, to shoot themselves in the foot and not give themselves a chance, as St Kilda just managed to get scores on the board from the likes of Jack Higgins and, Cooper Sharman and Liam Ryan and stuff like that. So watching that game, like I said, I'm glad they got the win, because they'll monkey off their back in that respect, and they can hopefully come into this game a little bit more relaxed. I don't think they will, but now that they've got the win, they can sort of breathe a sigh of relief. But they didn't look fantastic. The Giants just looked worse until they put the foot down in the last quarter and almost stole it.
Yes, I'm also just watching the West Coast Eagles and North Melbourne game, which is approaching half-time. Now, I jokingly said to you today when you said, what time would you like to record? And I said, just about in time to miss the match of the round. Now, I think I said that equal parts taking the piss, equal parts being entirely sincere. 3-point game.
Yeah.
3-point game. So, but yes, going back to that St Kilda game, I think, yeah, you're right. GWS, I think the weight of injuries is kind of, it was always going to catch up with them. And St Kilda kind of having thrown the first two games of the season. Like, they were in such winnable positions in both games and completely fumbled. They kind of did as little as they could to win, and by still winning, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
So good for them. What I was referring to before was they both delivered was the Hawthorn Sydney and Adelaide Western Bulldogs game, so a slight miscommunication there, but that's what I was referring to.
Oh yeah, big time.
Thursday and Friday night football.
And although the margin at the end of the Dogs and Adelaide game was a goal, Dogs just looked so much better across that game for a majority of it. Obviously, similar to the Giants, Adelaide got going in the last quarter and almost pinched it, but by and large, across that game, the Dogs looked well and truly in control.
Yeah, I largely agree with you. There are elements of the Bulldogs that just invariably annoy me. They get a lot of free kicks for things that kind of don't go both ways. You know, that one where Darcy got a free kick whilst also elbowing someone in the face, got a free kick for it, and the other guy goes off with the blood rule, kicks a goal, or I think it was a point, but it doesn't really matter. But just things like that. There are a lot of, holding the balls that didn't go both ways and things like that. So spitefully, I wanted Adelaide to win, but Adelaide have something weird going on in their style of play. It's almost like they are heavily modelling it on the Brisbane Lions kick mark style of play, not understanding that you also have to kick goals and not just chip the ball around the back line to get to 100 marks. Like,
yep.
The Lions, the last couple of years, it's been, if they take 100 uncontested marks, they win the game, 98% of the time. It's not because we just take the marks, it's because we use them to advance the ball and to get into positions where dangerous players can kick the ball. Adelaide had none of that until they started running and breaking lines in the last quarter, which is what they do. So It was a really weird thing. It was like watching an imitation of the Lions play, but they didn't have guys like Wilmot or Zorko or Kadeen Coleman in the back half being able to kick into the corridor. They just were kicking the ball around, going like, shit, we've just turned it over again. And, the Bulldogs had gone and scored. It was insanity. They also haven't, and aside from one really good thing, for the next 6 weeks, won't get anything out of Calamarchi. Really poorly coached. He's nowhere near anything. And the idea that the blueprint isn't there to go, hey, dude, why don't you sit on Bailey Dale?
It really reminded me of when Cal first came here to the Lions, and it's sort of like, all right, well, where do we put you? I guess we'll chuck you on a wing, maybe a bit of half back. And it wasn't until, Cal put his hand up and said, look, I'd play my best footy up forward, and that's where he stayed and had the ability, the versatility to do that. He was the spare behind the ball in the last 5 minutes of each quarter, could play on a wing like he did in the grand final last year on Dempsey. But he played his best footy up forward, like we saw in the grand final in 24 against Nick Blakey, and countless other times as well, as that defensive forward that could shut attacking halfbacks out of the game. It really reminded me of when he first came here. We didn't quite know how to use him, and maybe it'll take Adelaide a bit as well.
Yeah, it came up in a conversation, and I said, look, he took 2 full seasons to remotely look like he was part of the team. And that's not to say that he wasn't an extremely important player over the last 2025 and 2024, with elements of him coming into the team and coming into his own in that first grand final year. But it took a long time for him, and he dealt with injuries and stuff like that. But he just looked to be either bypassed by his teammates or behind the contest, or too far in front of the contest, just a little bit like he wasn't in tempo with his team. And that's fine, but the guy's more skilled than most of your players. So give him the ball, or give him a job, give him something. I don't know. It drives me mad, and he's trying to make an impact, and he's trying to lead, but you can't lead when you're not doing anything. So I felt bad for the guy, and then he did like an amazing spoil and killed the French Jacques. And then, tore his hamstring basically out of the stadium.
Yeah.
So, not a good look for him. But, yeah, Adelaide, I think they should have won that game. I thought the Bulldogs, whilst they, in inverted commas, deserved to win the game, I think Adelaide gave a lot of it to them in the first half with really dumb tactics, trying to imitate a style of play they're not used to. So,
well, at the end of the day, the Dogs are 3-0 and they do look pretty good. They do look pretty good. Suns obviously look good, but they've played some pretty rubbish teams the last 2 weeks especially, and then underdone Geelong, but still. Sydney looks like they're going to suffer the same fate as last year, where they suffer without their big stars on the park. But Hawthorn looked pretty good as well. So,
I mean, Sydney. You know, you're looking at the Sydney game, going, well, their efficiency of goal kicking is just, it's not sustainable. And if you need to ask anybody, ask your next door neighbours GWS how their last few campaigns have gone, with, you know, the distinctly highest number of, you know, goal accuracy. It's overrated. Overrated.
All right, now that we are 2 rounds in, we've had the bye and we've had a week to sort of reflect on, the Sydney game anyway. How do you look back on our first 2 games? We're 0-2, and I guess sitting in the bottom 4 at this stage. We won't know what the ladder truly looks like for a while. But how do you see us start of the season so far?
You know, cynically, I'd basically say it's somewhat akin to an extended preseason, and it's entirely irrelevant at this point in time. Whereas I think our season really starts from this coming game against St Kilda. We've not seen anything remotely close to our best team on the field in a good state. You know, the first game of the season is never really a good state unless you're a team who has like gone real hard at going, okay, we're going to hit the ground running. We've not really been given that luxury since 2019 to really do that. And that year was when we upset the Premiers. So context matters, and I just think that there's zero to read into for the first 2 games.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Sorry.
I'm pretty much with you as well, and there'll be a question we get to a little bit later on that we'll probably expand a little bit more on it. But yeah, first game, I thought, you know, upon reflection, and I said it at the time, probably not upset with the nature of the loss, but it was more the fact that we lost all those players that was probably the more upsetting thing, which sort of led into a really lackluster performance against the Swans, and I think that game was just lost a week out. I think everyone just sort of gone, all right, well, we've got too many changes, too much inexperience in the team there, players that haven't played for a year or 2 years, or new faces, and it's just not going to work. And you know, we saw in quarter 1 against the Swans, they just blew us open with speed of ball movement, and we just looked so disconnected. Once we sort of got our system going a little bit in the back half, it looked a bit more Lions footy, but it was too little too late. So, yeah, I'm with you. This game against the Saints will be a proper test of where we're at. Now, obviously, we still won't have our full strength team, but would be close to. You know, aside from Harris, and we know Jack Payne's missing for, you know, he's going to be missing. Like, let's just call it, he's out for the season, arbitrarily. We'll have close to a full strength team. Yeah, is ZZ in our best 23? Maybe by the end of the season he will be. Or is this a week where Tom Doedee gets his shot because played all right in the intra club from all reports? I don't know. Probably.
Sorry, my face was priceless there.
I understand that as well. So, against a team that, you know, we should beat, absolutely we should beat. That's not to say there won't be challenges. You know, obviously they've got a few new faces in that team, but, you know, you look at those lineups on paper and you think, if this is not a 5-goal win, I'm not going to say I'll be disappointed. Obviously, you take a win, but it's sort of like, how do we rock up against this St Kilda team? I want to see us really prove a point this week, I think.
Well, I would like to see the team play in a manner and that we know they can do, but in a manner that makes Harris Andrews not being there irrelevant. And it'll be a bit of a test for them, because I think historically Harris Andrews has played extremely well against St Kilda. In certain games, particularly down in Marvel, I think he's come close to breaking into certain mark records and things like that. But if the midfield group can really lock in and play the way that we know they can play, but they really haven't. I think the midfield group has been extremely disappointing. I know I've just said it's irrelevant, and now I'm going to hang shit on the midfield group. But they haven't really done anything. You know, there hasn't been that manic pressure on the ball. So play in a way that makes Harris being there irrelevant, please. That's what they should be aiming to do. And I also think that had Harris been there last week, I said it on last week's episode, I don't think it would have changed all that much. Yes, it would have made things a little bit different, and Amadi wouldn't probably have kicked a billion goals, but I don't think it would have won us the game. No,
I don't believe so. I think the Caminiti at this point's got a hamstring, so he might be out for them, who has played a role. He's been pretty handy for them against us in various different roles, like backup ruck. He played key forward in a defensive way against Harris previously as well. Their forward line isn't necessarily super imposing. They rolled out the two rucks. They played Marshall and TDK, so they'll have... Looks like Marshall was mostly playing forward. Didn't have the best game. But other than that, their forward line's not super tall. It's more... Jack Egan's has kicked bags on us before as well, so when Noah Answorth's going to have his...
I hate that guy.
Noah Answorth's going to have his work cut out for him as well, and yes.
They still got Butler. Is Butler still playing, or is he retired like 3 years ago?
I think he's retired. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a minute. He could still be on the list, but I've honestly got no idea.
Yeah. Will Devon Smith roll through the midfield? That's the big question. Any long-time listeners will understand that, or they probably won't because they don't care. But yeah, I mean, Sharman's pretty good. I quite like him, and
he's just sort of he's just sort of there, isn't he? And he's good for a couple goals a game, 2 or 3.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk down. I think them playing the two rucks suits us because we'll obviously go in with the two rucks, and then that way, I think rather than that attritional thing, I think that it'll be a bit of a burst situation. I think Len's better for Draper and for Fort. Fort can kind of go the whole game, but do you really want him to? Probably not. Like, just have him in there and then drop back and, a little bit going here and there. But I think across the board, our matchups should be better.
Yeah,
but it's football, so you never know what can happen. So
Bailey's definitely going to be a welcome addition as well to come back into that lineup. Charlie Cameron, he's been probably one of our best over the last 2 games as well, and Ryan Lester, as we've spoken about. So I think we should win this game. If we don't, and especially if we lose it and we walk away going, God, we just didn't rock up, or, the nature of the loss was really disappointing, then I think it's, we've said it's not time for panic stations yet, but I think if we come away with this with another loss, and especially if it's disappointing in the way we show up, then maybe it's time to start freaking out a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really one to freak out unless it's that one game against GWS a few years ago, but I think on the whole, you're looking at us winning the next 2. That's the important part. Is just take this one and then take the momentum into the next one. We're back in Melbourne. We got a really good record in Melbourne. We got a really good record against the States. And did I say the States? The Saints.
Yeah.
The Saints. Got a good record against them. Got a good record at Marvel. Got a good record at the MCG. So it favours us, and we need to really stamp our authority on the season. We need to turn up, and we haven't turned up this season yet. No one's seen us, and we need to reinsert into the conversation how good we are.
Yeah, just a nice little reminder, because I guess everyone's talking about Gold Coast Dogs, Hawthorn, I guess a little bit at the moment. Yeah, it would be nice to be back in that conversation, but at the same time, I don't really care. Let them sleep on us again. Yeah, actually.
So, right. That said, we still need to be winning games of football. Otherwise, the irrelevance will consume us. But yeah, I'm not too. I've been not stressed. I'm still not stressed. So let's continue the not stressed by winning.
All right, we did half touch on it last week, but let's put in some predictions for this round 3 team. Let's assume Bailey, Gardner, McCluggage are back and Logan Morris. So 4. Which 4 are you taking out for those? And can you foresee any other potential changes as well?
Yeah, it's tough to find where the 4 come out. So I could easily see McCarthy and... Oh, goodness. McCarthy, Tunstall. It's after McCarthy and Tunstall you start to go, okay, well, where are they coming from? Because yeah. Shit, man, I don't know. You go first.
I'm probably dropping ZZ as well, just because the Saints forward line isn't all that tall and imposing. I think between Dizzy and Ryan Lester, you can cover anything that's happening up there, and then just rely on sort of smaller to medium sized players. And then did
Zorko play in the intra club?
I don't know whether he did or didn't. That Zorko, Coleman, Wilmot situation is really going to be a wait and see for a lot of Lions fans over the course of the first 6 weeks of the season, and whether that mix is working. The other on, I guess, the fringe is probably Dan Annabelle, who did nothing wrong to get dropped, but it's sort of a
I don't know,
type situation.
He was one that I'm looking at and going, well, did he do anything to warrant not being there? No. But also, did he do anything to be there ahead of McCluggage? No. So, I think sometimes you have to, I guess, earn your stripes, but he might be the one to go out. Now, we talked last week about potentially being too tall and the nature of having 2 rucks now. Where do you sit on that?
Yeah, I guess coming up against 2 genuine ruckmen, I think it's probably a horses for courses situation that I think Fags would have done anyway. It's just leaving us a little... I keep forgetting about that sort of extra bench spot, that it sort of doesn't really matter as much. But I guess it's just sort of like Sam Draper has been handy up forward, and he obviously had 3 shots on goal for us against the Swans. Darcy Fort once upon a time was a pretty handy forward as well, but hasn't necessarily been that the last couple of years. So it does leave us a little bit, I don't know, carrying a player that is really only good in one particular position, especially while Sam Draper's really getting his fitness back, coming back from that Achilles. I think we'll do it. I think we'll roll with it, similar to the halfback situation. I think we'll roll with it for the first 5 or 6 weeks and reassess from there.
I can also see maybe if Morris isn't ready to come back, which might have been why Rayner was playing one out in the goal square, that you could have Morris not coming back and Draper playing as more of a ruck forward, which I think as the season goes on, we'll see him play more on the ball. So my definitive ins and outs are going to be like Gardner in, Bailey in, McCluggage in, and is that it? Is there anyone else I'm missing?
Well, Morris is the half.
So we won't have Morris come in, and we'll have out being Tunstall, Zakastelsky, and Link McCarthy, I want to say.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But also it could easily be Annabelle coming out instead of Zakastelsky. So I think one of Zakastelsky and Annabelle will come out.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I wonder just how much game time they want to get into ZZ, especially while Harris is out, because I think it's a bit of a no-brainer that when Harris is fit, we will play the 3, Harris, Dizzy, and Ryan Lester each and every week. So I guess maybe I'm reading into that a little bit too much. But as I said, that Saints forward line isn't really frightening me a huge amount. It's more the little fellas that are going to get you.
It does seem like the team has a slight difference in its... we knew where everyone was going to be on the field, more or less, and have known that for the past kind of few years, whereas we're in territory now where we don't quite know where players are going to be all the time, even with someone, because you look at the half back line and you've got Coleman and Wilmot and Answorth and Zorko and Fletcher that all have played there over the past few years, and you're sort of going, well, it kind of brought out the best in Fletcher, and so it's a bit of a tough one. So some decisions are definitely going to be needing to be made. Jeez, I sound like Del Santo. Did you hear Del Santo before earlier on?
Yeah.
You heard the gem? If Griffin Logue's injury is significant, it will be significant.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what that is. That's what they pay the big bucks for. That kind of insightfulness. So I'm inventing words over here. So I'm going to eat my own soup. You can continue. I don't know what I was talking about.
I guess another big question coming up against the Saints, we've seen it the first 2 weeks, is that Naz has copped a pretty heavy tag and hasn't necessarily been able to deal with it. He's pretty young. He had Ryan Angwin running with him everywhere on the weekend, and before that, I think Perryman ran with him for Collingwood and really didn't shut him out of the game, but really stymied his output. So is that something you can see Jared Berry doing? Or
I think we've got...
it's probably more Berry.
It could be Berry, it could be Fletcher as well. Fletcher can kind of go with him. I think he's got a little bit of toe over Berry, and that could be a potential line break, which I think is very important in the modern game. Add some strings to Fletcher's bow, man. Just give him the Naz. Let him go with him.
Be interesting. I know that Bez has obviously got the running power to do it.
He's got the running power over distance, I think, and that longevity, and he's pretty relentless. But I think, just that fleet of foot is sort of the element where, certain players have gotten us in that quickness out of stoppage and things like that. And there have been times where Berry and Fletcher, or Berry and one of the wingers, have done a job together. So Berry, of course, being a winger, but at stoppage and the other one. So it could be a group thing. You could look at Dunkley at stoppage and then one of the wingers rolling on like we did against Melbourne a couple seasons ago. Or you can look at what they tried to do to Nick Dacos a few years ago before Berry got injured and then it all went to shit. So there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of things that they can do. So...
yeah, I mean, looking forward to it. I guess just looking forward to seeing us play footy again and seeing what we can show up with and hopefully get a win, because that would be nice, albeit 11:30 in the morning.
Will you be going to EB?
I won't be going to EB. Well, actually, I might, because originally I had my footy game on the Saturday. I thought, that's going to take me out. But nice little... segue there. Of course, ebuyhiker.com.au. Book yourself game day package for $70 when you use the code LionsFancast26. $70, you get 3 hours of drinks and a meal in a fantastic venue where you can watch the away game as well. So this is they're going to be doing this every away game. Head to the website to book yourself a table. You got to book those tables by midday the day before. So by midday Friday, you got to book those seats at ebuyhiker.com.au. $70, 3 hours worth of drinks and a meal from the kitchen there. Unprecedented value.
Yeah, that's significantly better value than what I would get at the Bowsers at this point in time. I would say, so I remember, this is going back a long time, so 2009, I want to say, when we beat Carlton in the first final, then we played the Bulldogs down in Melbourne. Now, at the time, I went to the quote-unquote Lions Den, and I can't even remember the name of the pub in South Brisbane. And there was 3 people there to watch a final. So, yeah, right. And it was the designated home of the away games. It was dreadful. I'm pretty sure that pub, like all the players used to go there afterwards or whatever. Like I never saw them because I was
maybe
the Chalk. That's the one. Yeah. It was the Chalk.
It no longer exists.
Yeah, I think that probably no longer existed as of about 15 years ago. But dreadful. It was dreadful, and by all accounts, I've heard from one person that EB is very, very good. So, cool. That's my little anecdote. Also, that plug was entirely accidental. I was genuinely asking a question. So,
Fantastic. Well, thank you. No, it's a lovely little segue. Speaking of EB by Hiker, of course, they are sponsoring our tipping competition. I've done fairly horribly so far. I'm on 3, and I've tipped North, who are currently playing West Coast, as we've spoken about now. This is a Sunday night. It's halftime. They are up by 7 points. It looks like most people have tipped North Melbourne for this one. And of course, our weekly winner is going to win themselves 300 waypoints thanks to EB by Hiker. And of course, whoever wins the overall competition is going to win a grand final watch party worth $790 thanks to EB by Hiker. Our winner this week is Mitchell C, who unfortunately has a Hawthorn profile picture, which is upsetting. And also Hayden F, who has changed his team name to Hayden_F. Get in touch because you've won yourself, both of those people, Mitch and Hayden, 300 waypoints. Get in touch, send us a message via our socials or via the website, or just shoot us an email, blfancast@gmail.com, so we can get that prize to you.
Now, are we sure we're not going early on that? Because what if Mitch, the Hawthorn knob, has in fact tipped the wrong team?
Well, even if he has, that's fine.
Okay. I mean, me, you know me,
like
I'm a
tip North.
But like, you know me, I'm a stickler for certain rules within games, and I like to find boundaries of what is happening. So I will be on your case about this if you continue to go early, and I will make you stay up late so that this doesn't happen. My tips went slightly better than yours because I didn't tip Essendon. Why did you tip Essendon?
I was just really thrown off by how bad Port were against North. I thought at least Essendon showed a little bit of something against the Hawks for a half. Port showed absolutely nothing. But they did today, so... Yep, egg on my face. Smacked Essendon. And if you're Zach Merritt, why wouldn't you want to leave that place, and why would you sign a contract extension, honestly?
Well, the funny thing is that Essendon are not going to get 3 first-round picks for him next time round. It's just not going to happen. So we traded... You tipped Swans and the Bulldogs because you love the Bulldogs. You're like David King. You love the Bulldogs. By the way, I just want to say... Speaking of David King, so I tipped Hawthorn and I nearly got the margin, but I didn't quite get the margin. But I was... When it got to 2 minutes left and Hawthorn had the ball, they had the ball the last 2 minutes, and David King chimes in and goes, "Yep, they'll train this 2-minute drill all off season. They'll know what to do." Ball immediately kicked up the line to a turnover, and they turned the ball over 3 times in the last 2 minutes. I know they scored a goal. Watson scored a goal, then taunted the fans, then got annoyed when they threw shit at him. Like, I know you shouldn't be throwing shit at people, but don't, like, directly taunt the fans. So they turned the ball over 3 times, and they're like, "Oh, they've drilled this. They know what..." It's like, shut up, David King. Seriously, man. Like... You don't really know what you're talking about most of the time. Anyway, that's all I'll say about him. We got to do next week's tips, don't we?
We do. Thursday, 26th of March at GMHBA Stadium. It's the Cats and the Crows. It should be a fun game.
Yeah, I reckon the Crows are going to get belted.
You do?
I'm going the Cats by 40.
40?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see... I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to go the Cats, but only by like 4.
4? That's just because you're too lazy to click the button 40 times.
No, I don't know. Okay. I think the Crows will have learnt a bit from that and how they need to play. And I don't know. Cats aren't really... Obviously, they got smacked up by the Gold Coast.
Gold Coast,
pinched one against Freo, and that was also at their home ground, but a week off. I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
I'm not sold.
You tipping Collingwood and St Kilda?
I'm tipping Collingwood and I'm tipping Brisbane.
He comes back. If I could
do a margin, I reckon we're going to smack St Kilda. I'd honestly think we're going to win by 30 or 40 points.
I think there's some pretty comfortable tips until the last game of the round.
Port. Ooh, Carlton, Melbourne.
This is an ugly game.
Carlton.
Yeah.
I do like some of the stuff Melbourne's been doing. I just think they're just not there yet. They're still obviously very young.
Carlton are awful. Like, Carlton are so bad that I'm going to tip Melbourne. And I'm pretty sure that this conversation has been had last year at various times of, like, they're so bad, but somehow in the really, like, awful, ugly games, Carlton somehow find a way to dig in and win. But I am going to tip Melbourne. So I've gone Geelong by 40, Collingwood, Lions, Fremantle, North Melbourne, Port, and Melbourne.
Yeah, we only differ on the last one there as well.
Yeah. Good for us, I guess. I also said for us Americans. I think I'm having several seizures at this point in time. I've said the States. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the petrol prices and the impending doom of the world. But let's not get political.
No, let's not do that. Let's get to some questions. Thanks to Chris Marketing, who are giving you your free Brisbane Lions Fancast stickers. Check out our website, brisbanelionsfancast.com.au.
I have a question for you first, but go on. Sorry. No. You talk about Abby at Chris Marketing, please.
She does fantastic work if you're in business and you need any sort of marketing, whether it be a new website, brochures, you've got a podcast of your own, help with your socials, any of that sort of stuff, chriscoms.co. And if you want a free Brisbane Lions Fancast sticker, you can get that through Abby and the team at Chris Marketing through our website. All right, play on.
What was going through your head when you were reading the Discord questions channel this week? Serious and honest answers only.
I saw that it obviously blew up, and I saw that you had a number of contributions to the Fancast questions where we go and say, hey, has anyone got any questions for the podcast that we can talk about on the show here? And ideally, I go back and visit it, and there's, a series of questions right there instead of a full-blown conversation about Turkish hair transplants.
And how many apologies were issued to you in that thread?
Yeah, there were a couple.
Yeah. Because I knew that we'd lost control of the situation. But, there were... It was quite funny, because I don't know if you watched it, but a few weeks ago I sent you a snippet of another podcast that I listened to where he discussed losing control of the podcast, and there were talks of the medieval times. Now, the medieval times came up. So... And this what I sent you was under the pretense of it could always be worse, referring to me. It's gotten worse. But what I can say is the talk about the Turkish hair transplants came from a legitimate question.
It did.
Albeit asked by me. So
yes,
let's go to the questions. My question came from something else, so it requires a lead-in. So first question.
Trojan starts with, what are your thoughts on Benny Keys getting a fan to hold on to the ball to hold up the game? Quality shithousery, in his opinion. I loved it. Now, if it happens again, or if it happens often enough, it's going to get stamped out. But, 1,000 IQ play.
Imagine being a fan costing your team a 50-metre penalty.
Well,
which
I don't... Ooh.
Could happen,
because I remember a Brisbane fan did this a couple of years ago. I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago, over in Perth. The ball went into the crowd, and then a Lions fan, he did, that classic, who do I give the ball to? This guy? This guy's free kick? Are you sure it's this guy? He's sort of doing that to the umpire before he threw it back, so he bought a little bit of time, and I remember seeing that at the time going, that's elite. But having a player to actually instruct the crowd to go, hold on to that, like, hey, give us a second here. That's awesome. I think it's taking advantage of the home crowd, the 19th man on the field, as they quite often say, and actually using it. And you're, I guess, technically not doing anything wrong to halt the play. You are, but you're not.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny that they kind of lost and weren't able to take a mark with this possible 3 seconds that were not given to them. But so who's laughing now? Probably the Bulldogs. But I thought it was fine. I don't mind. I've definitely done that at a local level.
It screams local footy, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I'm a little bit embarrassed about it, if I'm being perfectly honest, because I didn't just withhold the ball. I then pegged it at the player. So
Nice.
Sorry, guy from, I don't know, whoever the hell. I didn't commit it that much to memory, but definitely I was being a dickhead. So
I think if I'm in the position of the fan and it's tough. You know, imagine that's a prelim final and the ball comes to you and you got Lockie Neal coming over going, hold on to that, like, do us a solid here, be part of the club. I'm going to do it.
Oh, absolutely. You got to do it. Like,
Yeah.
Otherwise you're a traitor. So you can be a knobhead or a traitor. Pick your poison.
Danielle, who is a long-time fan friend of the show, if it's not too late.
Hold on.
Yep.
You got to go to my question now.
Okay, yeah,
So
sorry.
this is the importance.
Danielle,
You know.
Apologies. Your thoughts on Patrick Voss rubbing Harry Petty's bald spot?
And who asked that question?
You did.
And who was that question directed to?
Patrick.
It's directed at me. I asked the question to myself, but I will ask it to you. What do you think about it? I was trying to be funny, and again, I feel stupid for it. So at least I'm not a traitor.
Yeah, funny. It's hard because I can't stand Patrick Voss either. It's like both of those players give me the absolute shits, but I suppose if I had to choose one, it's Patrick Voss. Yeah, the rubbing of the bald spot was funny, and then to back it up with the crying Noah Answorth gear, and he's been fined for that, by the way. $1,000 with a guilty plea.
Did you notice that in that article they cited that Dane Zorko had sledged him so horribly that he had, like, I thought we'd figured that out because it is perpetuated. Now I don't think Zorko's a saint, obviously, but it was kind of shooting into the night, and you know, we've talked about it, and it's like he said something that wasn't true, and the guy cracked. So it's like, oh, you're lactose intolerant, and they're like, but I'm not. But also, what if I was? And then they get sad about it. Like, that's not what it is. But come on, man. Like, Petty was clearly equally as in the wrong as Zorko, and it's still just get Zorko. But yeah, I mean, if it was anyone else, probably wouldn't liked it. But it's Harrison Petty, and I've been calling out his bald spot for a couple of years now, and the talk of Turkish hair transplants, we've got 4 of us ready to go because, you know, Father Time has not been kind to my hair. I was getting ready for the podcast today. I, you know, apparently bowed down to big shampoo and conditioner. I'd washed my hair, and then I'm like, oh, the crown's getting thin, so I got to put the beanie on because the lighting in here is shocking for it. So, you know, it's led to this positive conversation. So if you want to come to Turkey, get on board. I don't know when we're going because I don't have a passport and there's a war on right next to it, so probably not a great idea.
Yeah, nah, I'll just cool your jets on that one, I would imagine. All right, let's get to Danielle.
Cool out. Heat the jets up. The plane jets.
What are your thoughts on the Tassie team getting a sellout crowd in the VFL? I think it's great. Now, I didn't catch the game, if I'm perfectly honest, but you know, I think it's awesome that it was sold out, and that, you know, we've got a Tassie team now that people can attach themselves to and watch and cheer on and sort of get used to some of the faces and names and just build a following.
I personally think they could have played against like you and me, and they would have got a sellout. Not for us, but for them. So I think the sellout is pretty arbitrary, but good for them. What kit were they wearing?
So their VFL kit's pretty cool. It's got like sort of 3 stripes with the devil mascot sort of half in and out of it. That's pretty cool. I like it.
Sweet. And are they like I'm not even going to go into a number of teams in the VFL because it's already a nightmare with fixturing as it is. So very good for them. And I still think they've got the idea of the drafting wrong for them. But this is probably going based on last year where they were like, they'll get all these picks as currency. And it's like, cool, but what you should do is give them a lot of picks in round 2. And then that way they can get like not your top tier talent players, but your kind of mid-range guys that are going to become clubmen. I think that's a better way to go about it, rather than using those high picks to try and tempt people or whatever. I think we've seen it not work for Gold Coast, work a bit for GWS, but then when their talent has left, it's left a lot of holes and that sort of a thing. So not quite right for me, but also I'm not on any sort of board making these sorts of decisions. I'm just a schmuck.
All right, a couple more questions here. Nathan, there was a lot of talk in the off-season about how the stand rule would benefit us with our attacking half-back, but so far it's been the opposite. Teams have been able to move the ball quickly against us since we're not really blessed with speed. How do we fix this? Is it system or a change in mindset, or simply wait and see until we get our personnel back?
Boringly wait and see.
I'm a bit the same as well. As we sort of talked about at the top of the show, it's sort of haven't really got a good read on where we're at, and obviously we got done on turnover and speed against Sydney, and there'll be plenty of teams that get done on turnover and speed by the Dogs as well. And I thought we stuck it to the Bulldogs pretty well, to be perfectly honest. So you play that game 10 times and we probably win 7 of them. Yeah. 9, you'll say. 9.
100% we probably win 9 times out of 10 that game. If you play that game, like, they played as well as they could possibly play the Bulldogs. And I know that they've stacked a few of them back to back, but, like, it's just, yeah, I don't think, I think that was a lightning in a bottle. So I think we have to wait and see, but also that kind of back half and turnover game, we generally defended pretty well, but it required the midfield group to do a little bit more. So it also a little bit, it does sort of feed into that whole halfback mix of Coleman, Wilmot, Zorko that I'm not going to keep banging on about, because I know everyone knows where a lot of people sit on that in that mix. So we'll see. It's going to be a we'll see. Last one, Scott. Will Tom Doedee ever get back to his Adelaide ability level? He's on massive money. He's given us absolutely nothing as yet. Also, Link is classy, but looked to struggle moving laterally last week. What are your thoughts on his future? I think we're both Link's on the rookie list, right?
Yeah.
So it's the sort of thing, if Link can't get it together, then he won't. And if he's not, I don't think we're in the market for giving games to players that don't deserve it.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of past that point. I can see it in years gone by, and we tried with guys, unfortunately, like Rich, and with probably Gunston, we held on a bit to Mitch Robinson. It's like, we don't need to be doing that now, because we've got plug and play players ready to go across the board. And when you got guys like Bruce Reville playing their best football out of nowhere, it's like, that's the kind of stuff that's coming from underneath. So
yeah.
If they're not fully ready and firing to go, it's not to say their best isn't good enough, but what they have to do is, if they get an opportunity, play at their best and show the reason why they can't be taken out of the team. Thoughts?
Yeah, Tom Doedee, I'm not expecting. I think Tom Doedee, I'm prepared to just sort of write that off. Yes, he's on big money and a long contract, but it could have been a masterstroke in the same way that Link initially was and Joe Danaher was. That you take an injury-prone player and you get the absolute best out of him. It hasn't worked in this case. Maybe he'll play some footy this year. Maybe he won't. It all depends on, if injuries do happen to others, and maybe he gets a game, maybe he doesn't. If he can stay fit himself. Link, I'm a little bit more optimistic about, because he's a very good footballer. Like, he's got, a footy brain, and I know he's, remarkably talented and he's got good skills. So I think he's more likely to work himself back into it. And I can see him playing games this year. He still does look like someone that's missed 2 years of footy. And that will take a little bit.
Yeah. I want to make it clear that I do really want Link to play football. He's one of my favourite players. So I'm not saying that they're irrelevant. I'm just saying that I think they need to take the opportunities when they've got them, because there are other players waiting. And I agree with you. Link McCarthy's got a good football brain. He's very involved in the club, even through his injuries and stuff like that. And he's the sort of player that you could kind of drop in different areas on the field for him to do a certain job. Whether that'll work or not is remains to be seen. But I think he's the more likely of the two. He just needs to play consistent football, but he was kind of playing consistent football before he played that one game against Melbourne, and it didn't look good.
Yeah, so that's another bloke that just has missed so much AFL football, but by the time he gets back, it's so overawing, the speed of it and the physicality and everything is just sort of like, it's going to take him a minute to get used to that level of competition again. And it's the same for Link, but as I said, I'm probably backing Link in a little bit more to get the hang of it quicker.
Link looks far more fearless when he plays, that he's willing to really just put himself kamikaze out there. So,
yeah.
I have a question. Have we got any more questions? Or?
No, that is it for questions this week.
I have a question to you. Do you think, now, I could do the... First off, your clickbait title last week was astounding and disgusting.
Wasn't it?
It was filthy, and I did not care for it because not at any point in time were those words uttered. But so my clickbait question to you would be, have they got the last touch rule wrong? Your first reactions?
No.
We've now this week seen a lot of players shepherding the ball out to get the last touch free kick. Now, that's not a rule in the SANFL. If it's shepherded out, it's a throw-in.
Oh, right.
I think they've got it wrong. I think they've got that element wrong because that rule was brought in to stop that sort of stupid shit where you're going, oh, well, the ball was kicked, I'm going to shepherd it for 20 metres and have it go out of bounds and get a free kick. I think they've got that wrong. And but if you look in their laws of the game, they just skipped that entirely. So
yeah, okay.
That's one to watch out for me.
Okay. I know the explanation of it so far has been pretty simple, and I think Greg Swan said that it's like, if you would call it a goal, then it's last touch out of bounds. Like, and that's the same rule that would apply. So if it would be a goal, if it was crossing the goal line, then it's last touch and it's free kick other way. That's the metric.
Is handball?
Handball as well is obviously where that comes into disrepute a little bit, but in terms of, coming off the boot, it's like, well, if it would be a goal, then it's out of bounds and then it's a turnover.
Yeah, I just think that with the shepherding, it could be better, but
I also saw NBA style, I can't remember what game it was.
The handball into the foot and off, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
garbage.
We're going to see a little bit more of that as well.
Garbage. Disgusting. So, yes, they're creating problems for themselves by, I guess, not addressing the problems. And the stand rule's got all sorts of stuff and the 50 metres and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, it would be our game. I saw the phrase coined that, allergic to stability or obsessed with change or something along the lines. So maybe the goal song draft will be coming soon.
Now, normally Hop on Brew Tours bring us your votes each and every week. No votes this week, so they are going to be bringing you this week's how many games for Brisbane Lions did they play? And don't forget, Hop on Brew Tours officially turns 10, and they are celebrating on the 12th of April from midday through until 5 at Precinct Brewing on the Gold Coast. And you can always book yourself a half or a full day tour at hoponbrewtours.com.au. How many games did they play and who played more?
I'm overwhelmed by the amount of handsomeness in this photo, and the nipple got me.
It's a handsome start, isn't it? Your first matchup is Marcus Adams v. Dev Rob Robertson, who is currently on the field for the West Coast Eagles right now. Who played more games for the Brisbane Lions?
Well, I'm going to go Marcus Adams.
Dev Rob played one more game. 47 for Dev, 46 for Marcus
Now, hold on
Adams.
a second, because last week or the week before, I was quite, prickly at the idea of subs and sub appearances. Now, I can categorically say that Dev Rob has made more than one appearance as a sub, so I'm taking the moral victory on this one.
You can take your moral victory, mate.
And I want a bracketed number of subs, please.
I'm not going
do
to
your
that
homework.
much
Okay.
This takes long enough to do it.
Very, very rich of me to say do your homework, given I do contribute very little to this.
Your next matchup, Brett Voss and Grant Birchall, who played more games for the Brisbane Lions. Now, obviously, Brett played a few for the Brisbane Bears. They're not counted. Brisbane Lions only.
You're killing me. I would have watched every one of Brett Voss's games.
Probably would have watched every one of Grant Birchall's too.
Yeah, no, but I watched every one of Brett Voss's Gabba games at the Gabba. All right. You've got the poker face going as well. You cretin. Brett Voss.
Grant Birchall, 39 games, which did surprise me, if I'm honest. 35 for Brett Voss, who obviously went on to play a few more for St Kilda as well.
How many did Brett Voss play as sub that weren't included?
As a belated celebration of St. Patrick's Day, we have got Colm Begley and Niall McKeever, who played more games for the Brisbane Lions.
I think the only thing I remember is one of them being involved in the pandemonium situation.
Oh, yes. One of the great last-minute spoils against Jack Darling, running back to the goal square.
But, I mean, I got no idea. I'm looking for a coin to flip, but we kind of live in a post-currency world. So, McKeever?
Colm Begley, 29 games. McKeever, 22.
Yeah, I've noticed a pattern here, and it's not going to go well for me.
The People's Beard, Benny Hudson, and sweet little Tom Berry, who...
Tom Berry. No question, Tom Berry.
Only just 20 games for Tom Berry, 18 for Ben Hudson. It did surprise me that T-Bears played 20 for us.
I mean, how many were the sub? So, you live by the sword, die by the sword. So, we got one more. Right. I was doing this, remember when you do those tests in school and you color in the dots and it's like A, and you're like, it's got to be a B. That's what I've been doing because every single one was to the right and I had to pick the left. Yes. And now that's gone out. Brett Maloney and Aaron Cornelius is your next matchup here. Yeah, pretty forgettable. Brett Maloney, is he the worst number 3 we've had?
No, Sam Sheldon takes those honours.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I don't really remember Maloney doing anything except that one bomb goal. Possibly in the Miracle on Grass, yeah.
Definitely in the Miracle on Grass.
Let's go the big C, the big Cornel.
25 for Aaron Cornelius, 21 for Brett Maloney.
I think Brett Maloney only played one season, right?
Maybe 2.
Followed in the footsteps of Travis Johnston. It equally didn't go particularly well. So,
all right, your last matchup today: Matty Eagles, the recruit himself, and Mitch Hinge. How many games, and who played more for the Brisbane Lions?
So I'm fairly certain it's Matt Eagles, and I'll give you the reasons. Because he played a sneaky couple of games during COVID that I don't recall him playing, but I think he's only played 7 games, and I don't think Hinge has played that many. But I'm probably going to be immediately proved wrong.
No, you're dangerously almost right. 6 games for Matty Eagles and 3 for Mitch Hinge before he went off to Adelaide and has been a pretty integral member of that team. So there you go.
Do you remember Matty Eagles' debut?
Yeah, against the Hawks.
That wasn't his. I don't think that was his debut. No, it was. No, it was. That was his first win. He played against Collingwood in that game that you and I went to at the Gabba.
The KFC game.
What?
Where we got KFC at the end. The best KFC ever.
Did we?
It might have been that game. Might have been a different game.
I don't remember getting KFC with you. How drunk was I?
That's why the KFC was so good.
Oh, dear. Yeah, well, KFC's still good sober. Not that there's a plug for KFC. Go to EB for better food than KFC. And that's, I'm assuming if it had happened now, that's where we would have gone.
Definitely.
No, I think his first thing he did was he just choke slammed someone to the ground and it was really good. We love seeing that. Yeah. That was hideous.
That was good fun.
When are you going to change it up from games played to as we said last week, random stats? Behinds, tackles?
I will work on that.
Good.
All right, that will wrap things up for this week. We got a game against the Saints. 12:30 Vic Bias time or 11:35 for Queenslanders.
Interstate time.
Yeah, that's right. Let's get a win on the board, please. I'd like that very much.
I think that's kind of what the doctor has ordered, and hopefully the doctor does deliver. But it'll be all right. Like it's the Saints. Saints don't scare me in the same way that the other ones a bit can. No one scares me, but they might. Thoughts on the hamstring, situation?
Yeah, there's a few of them, isn't there?
I think slightly skewed by the fact that they're all over 30s that are like, except for Connor Rosie from today, but that was just him doing like a weird hyperextension dumb thing. All over 30s that were kind of a bit speculative, and maybe you're not able to play like a 30 plus. Not everyone's Dane Zorko. So when you look at it and go, well, it's Tom Lynch, Nankervis, Petrarca, Calamachi's had his fair share of injuries. Who else? Someone else.
Yeah, there's been a couple. I think it's just coincidence and a bit unlucky this week.
Absolutely, it's coincidence. Quick. Game's too quick.
I said the game's getting real quick. It is sort of floating into that NBA style. You have a go, we have a go.
Yeah, I don't love it.
That's a big wait and see.
I like elements of tactical variety, which we're getting, but I think in a lot of sports around the world, you're kind of getting a weird melding towards a certain way to play. But who am I to, worry about that one with this paraphernalia behind me? I've ruined another sport. I can ruin this one.
In other news, by the time people will listen to this, it will matter not. But Eagles are up by 3 goals in the third quarter, almost the end of the third quarter.
Oh, good for them. Legitimately good for them. Good to see guys like Elliot Yeo running around. He hasn't been able to run in quite some time.
No, and he will injure himself by the end of the year. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, and it turns out that Griffin Logue's injury was significant, apparently. So the wise words
Nick.
of Nick Del Santo just penetrating the cultural lexicon.